Alright, so the moon about to enter Aries tomorrow. So of course it's all about sparking and initiating, and creating, and feeling this, and seeing a new way about expressing your passions, your meanings, your reasons, your principles. And of course, expanding away from chiron, traumas, mistakes, and the way you relate. Now, when it comes to moon being in Aries, sun being in Cancer, we're going to be very direct when it comes to the way we love, nurture, care, appreciate our desires, our passion, motives, and of course, intents. Now, there's going to be a square right here. It's going to be pretty much a learning aspect when it comes to what you are pretty much having emotional care towards, and of course, your ways of taking impulsive actions and reactions towards these perspectives combined. Now, the moon and Aries are going to pretty much be asleep in this perspective. That means they may pretty much take a hard out of you to pretty much outburst and go to the extremes. Now, all Libras, Sun, Moon, and Ascendances is going to be gaining poles. All Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendances are going to be pretty much going to learn an aspect. And all Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendances is going to be pretty much going to learn an aspect as well. Now, Aries is all about sparking, not being around the bush, not wasting time. So Cancer want to have a lot more emotional connection. Aries don't want to burn through reality, want to burn through that, and of course focus on his passions. Libra want to relate, and of course compromise. Aries don't want to do that shit. Capricorn want to take his time, but of course initiate, and of course think and be practical when it comes to having a status or reputation or goals or being organized. Now it's pretty much in the same similarity when it's dealing with Capricorn, but this is fire, this is vision, this is feeling and seeing, this is pretty much now looking at the practical perspective, it's pretty much just going right through that shit. So this is pretty much going to be an aspect that's going to be ringing around the rosy when it comes to these energies tomorrow. Now we're going to pretty much break down these energies, and we're going to be pretty much go ahead and of course attack this pinpoint perspective. Now if you got Aries in your first house, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation of course coming up with a new way to spark and be direct and expand your personal life and expand away from trauma or anything that's dealing with personal trauma that's in your life. Got this in your second house, you'll be pretty much coming up with a new way to spark the things that you appreciate, value, and of course have a stable concept with, and also getting away from the things that you pretty much value that brought you trauma. If it comes to your third house, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation of thinking to communicate directly towards your environment, your surroundings, or the people, places, and things that are in your environment. And of course, using your mind and your intellect to pretty much burn through any trauma or any situation that pretty much brought worry and make you pretty much was unaligned in that perspective. This is in your fourth house. You'll be placed into a circumstance situation and basically be direct when it comes to love and nurture and caring about home, family, and privacy, or pretty much burning through reality when it comes to dealing with trauma or mistakes dealing with home and family and privacy. Fifth house, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation of pretty much coming out with a new way of sparking your imagination, your creativity, your expressions, and expressing your trauma and pain to on the stage. Now, if you got Aries in your sixth house, you're going to be placed into a circumstance situation of reacting and responding towards a new way to spark a new routine, a new work ethic, a new way of expressing yourself when it comes to your work health, and of course what you got going on a day-to-day basis when it comes to where you work at, your way of pretty much developing service and helping towards other individuals. And you're going to also be pretty much be placed into a circumstance situation of burning through any trauma that you pretty much dealt with on a day-to-day basis when it comes to your routine perspective. Now, if you got to see your seventh house and kind of be debilitated here in this situation, you're going to be placed into a circumstance situation dealing with obstacles, coming up with new ways of dealing with obstacles, new trauma, or pretty much expanding away from this. Now, if you got to see your eighth house, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation coming up with a new deep desire, a new passion, a new motive, or coming up with a new way to pretty much develop trauma or transform it within your life. Now, if you got this in your ninth house, you can be placed into a circumstance situation of coming up with a new way to expand and go to the extremes when it comes to experiences, meanings, reasons, principles, and the way you express yourself on a day-to-day basis. Also, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation dealing with some trauma when it comes to long experiences, distance, traveling, learning meanings and reasons and principles when it comes to the way you express yourself. If you got this in your 10th house, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation of going to the extremes and being very direct and cold towards expressing your status and reputation, your goals, your responsibility, duty, obligation. Also learning about this, learning how to do this, and learning how to come up with a new status, a new goal, a new career path, or a new purpose during this perspective and spectrum. And also, you can be pretty much dealing with some trauma with dealing with your status and what you're known for. If you plant bad seeds when it comes to the moon being in Pisces. If you got to see your 11th house, you'll be placed into a circumstance situation to come out with a new direct way to be passionate, aggressive, and direct when it comes to your association and the way you connect with your groups and your quantities of manifesting this from others. and also dealing with some trauma when it comes to your associations and things that you associate yourself with. And last but not least, is coming up with a new way of dealing with your dreams, a new imagination, a new way of being directly towards your subconscious and your subconscious internal endeavors. Also dealing with some subconscious trauma or dealing with some, internal trauma. So pretty much what's going to pretty much help you in this area is pretty much making sure your internal is right. This way you won't get opposed extremely when it comes to your sixth house, your work, health routine. You pretty much worrying about the details of things and how you're going to pretty much be having that outlook on certain perspectives and analyzing certain areas and locations in your life. So that fire is going to pretty much get you up off your ass, especially if you planted good seeds. If you're planting good seeds, you ain't got shit to worry about. You'll be alright in a situation, and you'll be able to actually be moving forward when it comes to your deep desires and your deep dreams and the way you come across when it comes to pushing these things off on the totality.